You're listening to Let's Talk Sports podcast with me, Lucia. NFL, NBA news, and more coming to you right now. Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of Let's Talk Sports podcast with me, Lucia. So, for the rundown this week, as you know, I uploaded yesterday in detailed my reaction to the Brian Flores lawsuit, so I will not be touching that at all in this episode. And moving forward, I will not be touching that because up until we get some sort of resolution, I won't be going through all the back and forths and stuff. So yeah, I'm just not going to touch that. So we've got last week's storylines, this week in sports history, a thank you to Tom Brady, head coaching hires, news, and NBA games of the week, as there is no NFL as we are moving to the Super Bowl for next week. Last week's storylines, Tom Brady retires. I will be discussing that in a later part of the episode, but I just want to say thank you to Tom. I'll be discussing that later. So yeah, can't believe he's gone. Like, it's going to feel so empty. Like, a piece of our childhood has gone with him. And that's what people don't realize, is that a piece of our childhood has gone with Tom Brady. But the league is in good hands with Joe Burrow, who makes history by beating the Chiefs. Joe Burrow is incredible. He is incredible. I love Joe Shiesty, Joe Burr, Joe Cool, whatever nickname you want to give him. I love all of it. I love him, and I think he has the best opportunity to take over from Tom Brady, and I think that's what Tom sees. Tom's like, yeah, all good. The league's in good hands. It's got Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. And that's all on the AFC side. Then on the NFC side, it's got Russell Wilson, who's aging, and Matthew Stafford, and all that, whose entire story has just completely different. But Joe Burrow, who makes the plays down the stretch, who is clutch, who can get their team into field goal range for Evan McPherson to get them into the Super Bowl. I love that. I love that team. Like, that team, I want them to win the Super Bowl so badly. Like, that would just be the magical run. It would be. And this is a topic that's sort of like on the same sort of stretch as that. Has the Mahomes magic ended? As we all know, we have watched Patrick Mahomes and we've been like, holy crap, the stuff that he can do that to extend plays is just so good. But this season, he's been no look passing himself into interceptions. He's been doing a lot of silly things throughout games. And the second half of the AFC Championship goes and proves that. How do you only score 3 points in the second half of that game? That game was amazing. He had a mind melt. And it's funny, I was watching the game and I looked at him halfway through the third quarter and I literally said to myself, and this is no joke, I said to myself, oh my god, Cincinnati's going to win this. Because there was something about Mahomes that just was seeming off in the second half. And I don't know what it was. It just seemed off. But I do think the Mahomes magic has ended. He's no longer alluring. He's like Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. It's actually the Mahomes and Rodgers parallels are so obvious. It's sort of like weird to see. Anyway, on the NFC side, Jimmy G, has he played his last game for the San Francisco 49ers? I think he has. He did say thank you to the 49er fans in his exit press conference, and I thought that was incredible. He has since gone to the Pro Bowl and hung out and partied with his 49er teammates, but I reckon he will always be friends with them. It's now Trey Lance's turn. Trey, it's on you. And the Rams have made it to the Super Bowl. This is incredible. This storyline is incredible. Flipping Jared Goff for Matthew Stafford was the best move that the Rams could have ever done. And it just rewritten Matthew Stafford's whole entire career. Because he always had like the pretty numbers, but he was stuck in Detroit. And yeah, he made the plays down the stretch. There's just something about this Bengals team that I really want to win. I'll go through that next week and go through why and what my heart is saying, but anyway. In some NBA storylines, James Harden wants out of Brooklyn and wants to leave Brooklyn behind and go to Philly. And that's a turnaround. I was not expecting it to end this quickly, the big three to end this quickly. But it's like every single thing that can go wrong with Brooklyn has been going wrong. James Harden wants out. Kyrie's a part-time player. Durant's hurt. It's like every single little thing is going to go wrong for them. And it has. And in saying that, the next big storyline is that Ben Simmons is on his way out of Philly. I think it's going to be a James Harden for Ben Simmons trade, with a few little role play pieces attached to it. Probably Seth Curry and Matisse Thybulle, which would be awesome. But yeah, that's a little bit. Yeah, so Ben Simmons is on his way out. James Harden's on his way out of Brooklyn, and Ben Simmons on his way to Brooklyn, probably. AD is back and is as dominant as ever, and I'm so happy. I am so happy that he's back. He's dominating. It just makes everybody else's job easier on the court when AD is playing at his best. It just makes it so much easier. And the NBA trade deadline is next week, so I'll be discussing all the moves from there and what's going on with all of that. So now, this week in sports history, in 1991, Howard Stern kisses NY New York Giant Leonard Marshall's ass over a bet. Stern lost, claiming that the Giants would not win the Super Bowl. Well, guess what, Stern? We won the Super Bowl that year. So now, it's for my message to Tom Brady. Thank you, Tom. Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. Thank you for changing the game. Thank you for making the level of success so much higher. And also thank you for the 2 Giant Super Bowls. Had to throw that in. 7 times you were Super Bowl champion. 3 times league MVP. 5 times Super Bowl MVP. And first in any meaningful passing category. You are the GOAT. You are the most accomplished. The ultimate competitor. The stone cold assassin. Your leadership was the greatest attribute that you had. Thank you for all the memories. Thank you for being a constant in my footballing life, in my footballing fandom. And thank you for just going out there and doing what you do best. See you in Canton. Thank you, Tom. Head coaching hires. So the Jags actually did not hire Byron Leftwich because Byron Leftwich wanted the general manager gone. The Jags actually hired Doug Peterson, and the Raiders have hired Josh McDaniels, and the Vikings hired Kevin McConnell. So those are all reasonable hires. I think the Jags will do well with Doug Peterson. He managed to develop Carson Wentz, and they need someone to develop Trevor Lawrence. Like, that will work with Trevor Lawrence. Now in some news. The Green Bay Packers want to bring back Aaron Rodgers. Of course they do. The Raiders hire former Giants defensive coordinator Patrick Graham as their defensive coordinator. The Colts hire Gus Bradley. Sashimi Brown has been hired as the new Ravens team president following the retirement of Dick Cass. Clint Hurt has been promoted to DC of the Seattle Seahawks. LeBron James has returned from his knee injury against the Knicks and hit 29 points in his return. Joel Embiid leads the MVP contenders list following the next two are Joker and Steph Curry. I still think it's Steph Curry's because Joel Embiid will eventually just fall off like he always does. The NBA has unveiled their new All-Star MVP trophy that pays homage to Kobe Bryant, who the trophy is named after. It's got a whole bunch of stuff that is sentimental to Kobe. It's got 18 stars, which represents all the All-Star appearances he's had. It's got a whole bunch of his different titles and all that stuff on it. It's an amazing trophy. It's actually really nice. The Pacers have signed Lance Stevenson for the rest of the season. So that is a good signing. The NBA Games of the Week. We've got the Suns versus the Bulls. Two good young and up-and-coming teams that will be fighting it out. This could potentially be a finals matchup. We don't know. We've got the Lakers versus the Warriors. This could be a potential first-round playoff matchup. I'm looking forward to. That is all for this week's episode of Let's Talk Sports Podcast. So I'll catch you all next week. Bye.